meeting to order the City of Redondo Beach Public Art Commission regular meeting held this Wednesday, May 26th via Zoom, called to order at 7:02 p.m. And with that, I will turn the meeting over to Ms. Koike to take roll call and to introduce our new Community Services Director, Cameron Harding.
All right. To start the roll, Commissioner Sharma.
Oh, here.
Commissioner Richardson. That was him.
Can you hear me?
Oh, yes. Hello, Commissioner Richardson. Commissioner Cagle.
Present.
Commissioner Klein.
Here.
Commissioner Pucci. Not yet arrived. And Chair Lappin.
Present.
Right. Oh, well, thank you for the floor. It's good to see everybody. It hasn't been that long since our last meeting, so it's good to already see you and not have to wait a couple months. But I just wanted to formally introduce our new Community Services Director, Cameron Harding. We're very excited to have him here. He'll tell you about himself, but it's great he has roots in the South Bay, so I'm sure you'll find that to be interesting. And just a reminder, today is his third day. So I will take you through the meeting, and the next meeting he will have mastered the craft of commission. So I'll turn the floor over to Cameron so he can tell you a little bit about himself.
Well, thank you, Lori. And it's nice to meet all of you, at least virtually meet all of you. Yeah, as Lori mentioned, I'm South Bay local, have lived in and around the area for about 20 years or so now. And I'm very happy to be in Redondo Beach. My last job was for Director of Community Services in Cypress, which was down in Orange County. And I will not miss that 45-minute to hour commute down the 405 every day. So just absolutely thrilled to be back in the South Bay. Prior to Cypress, I was the director in Lomita. And prior to that, worked in Manhattan Beach for almost 9 years. But just thrilled to be here. As Lori mentioned, my third day, so my head is still spinning and still trying to figure out how to turn the computer on and where the restrooms are and how to unlock doors and things like that. But hopefully by our next meeting, I'll be much more up to speed and ready to go. But super excited to work with you all. I've heard great things about this commission, and yeah, just look forward to working together and doing great things. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We are very much looking forward to working with you as well and your leadership, and welcome to Redondo.
60% from last year.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Testimony in the trial involving the death of former college student Molly Tibbetts.
Someone has.
3 years ago.
Oh, this is still not a good look. Yeah.
What am I hearing in the background?
Oh, sorry. This is Marcy just saying, I got to turn this camera off. I'm sorry. I just can't do it.
I know. I think we heard some, like a news broadcast or something. I think we're good.
Yeah. Sorry.
So moving forward, if everybody would join me in the salute to the flag, which, do we have the flag? There it is. Okay. All right. So ready, begin. I pledge allegiance
to the flag
of the United States
of America and to the republic
for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. I do not believe that we have any blue folder items. Is that correct, Ms. Koike?
That is correct, Chair.
Okay, so we will then move on to the consent calendar. And the consent calendar all items under this heading will be received and approved at one time after we go through each item. These are business items, except those formally noticed for public hearing or discussion. The commission members may request that any consent item be removed, discussed, or acted upon separately. Items removed from the consent calendar will be taken up under the excluded consent calendar section, and those items remaining will be approved in one motion. So we will go past the affidavit of posting, and I will ask any of the commissioners if they have any changes or comments on the submitted minutes that we have from April 28th. So no comments on the minutes. And I will then ask Ms. Koike to give us the Public Art Fund report, please.
Yes. So when we last met in April, the balance was $579,164. Since then, fund contributions have added $36,565 to the balance of the art fund. And as you can see, I also encumbered the $2,000 for the miscellaneous expenses relating to the use of professional services, which then brings us to $613,729. And that is the report.
And there were no items, none of the commissioners had anything they wished to remove from the consent calendar. Very good. So then may I now call for a motion to receive and file all items under the consent calendar.
Marcy Klein will give a motion to receive and file.
May I have a second, please?
I second it.
Commissioner Klein has made the motion. Commissioner Sharma has seconded. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. There were no excluded consent calendar items. So I am going to turn this over to Ms. Koike to see if we have any public comments for the public participation on non-agenda items. This section is intended to provide members of the public with an opportunity to comment on any subject that does not appear on this agenda for action. This section is limited to 30 minutes. Each speaker will be afforded 3 minutes. Each speaker will be permitted to speak only once. So do we have any participants and or e-comments?
I did not receive any public communication, and I'll just check with Laura Diaz from the city clerk's office. Laura, did we receive anything for the public participation section of the agenda?
There are no public e-comments or attendees for this item.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Moving on to item I of the agenda. Are there any items continued from previous agendas? I do not believe so.
No, Chair.
Okay, then we are moving right into item J. So the first one under J is the Public Art Commission Subcommittee reports. I will turn this over to Ms. Koike, please.
Yes, we have this item for each agenda, and it's to hear from the two subcommittees, the mural and marketing groups. And I guess at this time I will ask if there are any updates or verbal reports from these two subcommittees.
This is Commissioner Klein, and I'm on both committees, and we do not have any updates at this time for either committee.
Thank you, Commissioner Klein. So as there are nothing under this topic, we will move on now to item J2, which is the development of the request for proposal for the Ringe Sanitary Sewer Pump Station mural project. Ms. Koike?
Yes. So to recap, the commission started the discussion about the RFP for the mural at the last meeting in April. The group did make decisions on a handful of items, which I will recap. The first is, I think you generally agreed that the mural would be painted directly on the brick, although I do believe someone also mentioned that you would entertain creative ideas from artists on if they wanted to apply the mural differently. You agreed that the mural would be on two walls. So it would be the wall facing the park and the adjacent sidewall. You agreed that you would, in the RFP, mention that you want a family-friendly design, but that you did not want to specify a theme to provide the artist with the ability to kind of expand their ideas. You also talked a little bit about the cost of the mural. The technical amount allowed for the project is $25,600, and that is the 1% of the cost of the project. The commission also mentioned that you would be taking a look at possibly adding additional funding from the Public Art Fund to this project. Items that still need to be discussed is the reach of the RFP. Again, do you want to limit the artists to the South Bay, California, the United States, international? So you'll still need to discuss that. The length of the response time for the RFP, we did not discuss that yet. And also items to be included in the proposal, such as renderings, biographies, things like that. Still need to discuss that. Some of the items in the packet to give you some ideas of which direction you want to go with the RFP. We gave you a copy of the RFP that was used for the WAVE art piece at the Performing Arts Center. There's also some information on murals for Manhattan Beach. They have a murals program. So that was also included. Also, a big thank you to Commissioner Richardson, who provided us with 3 websites where we could potentially post the RFP. I couldn't print out all 3 of them. 2 of them of the sites were blocked at work, but I did include the printout from the artdeadline.com. And again, it gives you different ideas on how they handle RFPs. So at that point, I will ask the commission to continue the discussion and see where we want to go with the RFP.
So I think what I would like to do is, as we move through this, if you could keep a note on each thing that we decide, and at the very end, then we can make a motion to approve and move forward all together instead of line item by line item. The first thing I wanted to go over, we talked about the artwork being done directly on the block wall, but I wonder if we want to give the artist the creative license or option to create the art as they see fit under the budget parameters that are listed in the RFP, rather than specify it as one set thing. I think that giving them an artistic creative license might be a better way to go. With that in mind, we would need to make sure that we note in the RFP what the walls are made of, so that the artist knows what it is that they're looking at. So I'd like to open that up for discussion to see if commissioners have any thoughts on which way they would like to go. I'd like to start with Commissioner Sharma.
I actually, I was looking at this and I had a question too. In the background, it mentions that this pump station project improvements, it includes the construction of a new electrical building and the emergency generator enclosures, complete with architectural, structural, mechanical, plumbing, electrical elements. So when they're talking of a new building, are we still talking of the older walls that's the pictures that we have, or are we going to look at a new wall, so a canvas for the artist? So how
this was a description of the building that you see in the photos. It is the
right.
That is the new building.
That is the new building.
The one that we're looking at is the new building.
Perfect. Okay.
So do you have a thought on whether you want to specifically specify whether the art should be directly on the block wall or the brick wall rather, or do you want to give the artist creative license to submit in their proposal the way they envision their artwork?
Actually, I'm very open to giving creative license and letting the artist decide. So we don't limit the artist with our own limitations. So I'm open.
Okay. So other commissioners, Commissioner Cagle?
Yes, I agree with.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I agree. I think that we should give creative license to the artists and let them pick out how they want to apply it to the wall.
Commissioner Richardson?
Yeah, I think that's probably a good idea rather than trying to limit it in any way. In fact, I think we should be looking at an RFP and these websites I recommended, Art Deadlines, Art Jobs, and there was another one that I forget at the moment. But they're full of examples of RFPs and how we could put this out there. So I think we would learn a lot just by looking at other RFPs.
So I agree with you. And I looked at several RFPs online. I looked at an RFP from the city of Santa Ana for their fitness court mural, and also the city of Sunnyvale for their amphitheater public art project. And some of the things that they put on there, which are typical of an RFP, would be the reach of the RFP, and the timing, the distribution, application deadline. Then to under the timing, we should list what the date of distribution, what the date of the application is, when the Public Art Commission will review the project, when the finalists would be selected, when the Public Art Commission would send their final selection to the City Council for approval, when the City Council would review and approve, so that and when the contract would be developed, and then the fabrication and installation of the artwork. And that's putting in a standard timeline like that. Gives the artists a very clear picture of exactly what's going to happen and when it's going to happen. And I think that that's important. And I see that in many RFPs. I mean, obviously it should include the artists need to include their media and their installation and all of that. But I mean, outside that, just the administrative portion, I looked at that. Other things I noticed from other RFPs, that the artwork should not contain any trademark images, logos, taglines, or in any way be thematically linked to a commercial business establishment, product, or service. No overt religious or political themes or symbolism. It should contain none of that. So those are the things that I gleaned when I went through and looked at these various other RFPs that I looked at.
So is this something that we are going to generate and put
Well,
out there?
I think that we can, I think what Ms. Koike and Mr. Harding are asking of us is that we establish the criteria and make suggestions to the city as to what the RFP should contain, and then they will move forward, and whatever the city legal requirements, et cetera, that would all be contained in there, and then it would then go out. Is that correct, Ms. Koike?
You are correct. We want to make sure, I think we talked about this is the first RFP for the majority of the current commission, and we want to make sure that it's as comprehensive as possible. So, yes.
Okay, so the first thing that we have come to agreement on, I believe, is that we will give the artist creative license on how they want to create the art, rather than to dictate that it would be done directly on the brick wall, as long as it falls within the confines of the budget. And then their material and their media, all of that will be up to them to provide us in their RFP. I believe we have also come to agreement and that there will be no theme requirement, but that make a notation that the building is located in a residential park area next to an elementary school, and that the theme should be family friendly. Are there any comments from commissioners regarding that second piece of the RFP? Or are we all in agreement to move forward with that as stated?
Well, I think that's a very general term, and sure.
All right. Well, so that are we all in agreement that we will have no theme, no stated theme?
Agreed.
I think it'd be great to have some kind of theme in the overall planning of the public arts in Redondo Beach, to have some kind of big idea. So when people see art in the city, I don't have the answers to this, but I think we could have some kind of theme going. I don't know what it is, but I would like to.
When you say that, what is it that you're envisioning?
I'm envisioning all the art in Redondo Beach, all the public art, to have some kind of meaning rather than being decorative. I don't want to see pictures of the beach. I don't want to see palm trees. I don't want to see pictures. I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't know how to formulate this idea, but I think Redondo Beach could have a big idea about how this works, rather than just picking from random entries and saying, that's pretty, I like it.
Okay. Well, but since we are a beach community, what is your objection to then having a beach theme? And do you want, there's so many diverse parts of Redondo Beach that I don't know if we really want to have an overall theme per se. I'm not sure that would be appropriate.
You feel like that's too limiting to have a theme? I think the beauty of creativity and artists will break those boundaries and find ways to come up with ideas within whatever idea that is. I don't want to limit an artist. I want to see new ideas, but instead of looking to Hermosa Beach, Manhattan Beach for ideas, I'm all for original ideas, but
I'm not sure that we looked at surrounding communities for ideas for the artwork. I think we looked at surrounding communities to see if they could provide us with some additional information on how we just structure the administrative portion of an RFP is what the reason that we looked at their other programs, not for any artistic thematic reason. Commissioner Klein, do you have a thought about this?
Yeah, I do, definitely. I think that having a theme for the whole city, I think is very limiting. And I think that each project should be looked at per project basis. And I think we all decided that we wanted, and maybe we didn't all, but that we wanted to leave this particular mural project completely open to let artists come up with their creativity and what they think would be a great vision there, as long as it's family friendly in that particular spot. So I kind of started big, saying I don't really think there should be a big theme for the whole. I don't think the Art Commission itself should have a theme, or the whole city of Redondo Beach should have a theme. I think it should be per project basis. And maybe some projects we do want a theme, but I think we've decided this one, I think we agreed together that this one does not have a theme. That's my understanding.
Commissioner Cagle, do you have a thought?
Actually, don't have any additional thoughts. I like what Marcy said. I kind of agree. Well, I do agree with what she said. She said it perfectly.
Yes. And Commissioner Sharma?
I would like to give the artist the openness to decide what they are envisioning on a particular wall. So limiting them is not my idea. And I also looked at a couple of RFPs, and the ones that I ended up looking, none of them specified a theme, even if it was like one was Santa Barbara. And again, that's also a beach community, and nobody's specifying that that's what they are looking for, like this theme. Unless we have a vision of a particular wall, and that's what we want on a wall, and then we work towards a theme. But I think this is our first, as far as our commission is concerned, this is like one of our first mural thing, and it's a learning process, and I think we can leave it open for the artist and take it from there.
Okay, so I'm going to now formally poll the commissioners so that we can set this in stone and move on to the next item. The question is, will we have a theme for the city as a whole? Yes or no? And if the answer is no, will we have a theme for this particular specific mural project for the Ringe Pump Station? So, Commissioner Sharma?
No theme for this particular one, for sure.
Okay, and no for the city as well? No city theme?
Right now, I'm open. Like, I don't know. It depends on the location, I guess.
Well, so let me just clarify what I think Commissioner Richardson was saying. He wants to establish a theme for the city, for the public artwork, that all public art will fall under that theme. And when he says, I think I think, and please, Commissioner Richardson, correct me if I'm wrong, when you say a theme, you're really talking about an idea that's like having a stated purpose for the city rather than, a beach theme or a whatever theme. Is that what you were thinking? You're muted, so you have to unmute.
It's just as simple as this. Rather than being decorative in our ideas, that's a contradiction right there, but I would like to just see art in the city. Public art should express ideas. I want to get away from this idea that we're decorating. And this theme, I don't want to put anything in stone right now, as you say. I think this is an idea that we should come back to. Yeah, we don't have to come up with a theme right now because I don't think, I've been thinking about this and I don't think we can come up with something right now anyway. So,
right. And Chair Lappin, just as a reminder, if this is something that if you want to agendize in the future, you could, but shouldn't discuss too much about this overall theme as it's not agendized.
Well, but the point is, if we did decide to do that, then this whole agenda item would go away because we would not be able to move forward on this agenda item because it would not be able to go forward until we developed a citywide theme, which
Correct.
would take many, many, many months. So if we're not going to do that, then the question is, and the formal question is for moving on here, that we will not do that right now, and that we will not have a theme for this particular project. But we will put in the RFP the caveat that the building is located in a residential area park next to an elementary school, and that the theme that the artwork should be family friendly. So with that in mind, Commissioner Sharma, yes or no?
Yes. Yes, for what you said.
Commissioner Cagle?
Yes.
Commissioner Klein?
Yes.
Commissioner Richardson?
Yeah, basically what you said. I don't see why we need to vote on this. We need to develop an RFP, right?
Yes, but that has to be part of the RFP. This is part of the RFP that we're talking about. And at the end of this discussion, Ms. Koike is going to read off exactly what's going to go, what we're suggesting go in the RFP. So this is number 2 that we're talking about.
Okay, then there's no theme at this point, right?
Correct. Is that you're saying yes or no?
I agree. There's no theme at this point. Yes.
Okay, and I say yes. So that is now locked down. So the next thing that that we need to look at is the reach of the RFP, and Commissioner Richardson kindly forwarded some great websites that we can use. I would really like to see if the city could find who the RFP was distributed to for the Performing Arts Center, because I think that would be helpful for us to maybe issue it in those same locations, plus what Commissioner Richardson had done, and also the to find the sites that perhaps there were some other sites in the call for artists that that Joyce sent out for the utility boxes. Maybe that would also be some areas to distribute. But so I believe that we decided that because of putting things out on those types of sites and through the internet, that the reach of the RFP is either all of the United States, just the state of California, just Southern California, just the South Bay. I think that we were thinking because of the internet, it would be all of the United States, but maybe it was just California. I'm not sure.
These sites that promote RFPs and call for artists can be totally tailored to how they're distributed. They can be localized, or they can be in certain counties or states, as you say.
Do you have a thought on where you? So the cost of this mural is about $25,000, a little over $25,000. So, that's not a huge amount of money in comparison to, so for example, the Performing Arts Center was $200,000.
Well,
So
it's not even on the same
that's my
scale.
point. So should we limit this RFP to the state of California or Southern California?
I think there's artists out there who are capable of doing this without having to reinvent themselves as creative artists. There are artists who do murals and know what they're getting into, and in their proposal, they'll specify what is needed to make a mural for this wall. It's quite a small wall. I went by and looked at it. The wall is a brand new wall and it's pretty flat. It could be treated, it could be plastered over and improved, but I think it's very clean and very, you need a small ladder to really reach the top of it. So in an RFP, we would describe the building and the materials and show pictures and measurements of it.
Yeah, but the question is, where do we distribute the RFP? So do we distribute it just the state of California? Do we distribute it Southern California? Do we distribute it through the United States? Do you have a thought on that, Commissioner Richardson?
Yeah, I think it's wide open. Why should we limit it,
Commissioner Klein?
I actually think this is a small local building in a local neighborhood, and I would love to see a local artist. So I'd rather see it South Bay than open it up to California.
How many mural artists are there in the South Bay?
Yeah, see that's the problem.
Well, I actually know two of them personally, so I know that there's at least two, but I'm sure there's a lot more than I don't know. And I personally love the idea of keeping this thing local, but that's just my own opinion, and everyone has one.
Okay.
And there's many of us.
So so now, Commissioner Sharma, do you have a thought?
I wanted it to be local too. And even if we go a little beyond South Bay, give priority to the South Bay, especially Redondo artist. So we can kind of, if we decide something on those lines, we can say that, the initial proposal will be maybe, like giving an advantage for South Bay artists at least.
Well, how does this work? If we just are locally opening this to Redondo Beach artists, do we just choose from whatever is entered and we have, 3 or 4 or 5 and then that's our limited entry.
Sorry, this is Klein. I'm suggesting South Bay. I'm not saying Redondo Beach only. I'm saying South Bay, which includes Torrance, Palos Verdes, Manhattan Beach, Hermosa Beach, and El Segundo.
Commissioner Cagle, do you have a thought?
Yes, I do. I was thinking about the whole state of California, but now I've changed my mind and think Southern California would be a good outreach instead of limiting it to the South Bay.
Thank you, Commissioner Cagle. So this is my thought. I think we want to reach as many professional mural artists who are used to doing murals in a public art forum as possible in the size and the scope of our project. And with that in mind, I think that we should open the RFP to the state of California, because if an artist is from someplace that's a little farther than the South Bay, if they're professional mural artists, they'll know that they would have to include their travel time and their, to come down here in installation, their cost of staying down here while they're doing the work and all of that. And if that's outside of their capability, then they're not going to bid on it. So, but I don't think we should restrict ourselves to possibly getting some excellent submissions by just keeping it very local. That's my opinion. So, I haven't heard anything to say the whole of the United States, and so the question now is South Bay versus Southern California versus the state of California. With those three options, Commissioner Sharma, do you have a preference?
My preference is South Bay. There is one option we can do is we can reach out first to South Bay, and if we do not like any of those projects, then we can go to the next further circle of Southern California. And it might take.
Why would we extend the timeline when if we get submissions from all areas, we will then review what has been submitted to us and make a recommendation to City Council. So why would we have to extend the timeline in this process by then having to go out again for a second RFP call?
Well, I think that brings up a good question, is the timeline. If we do not receive examples or proposals that we do not like, then it will be extended rather than choosing something that we don't like.
That's correct. So, Commissioner Sharma, you are for South Bay.
South Bay, yes.
And Commissioner Cagle?
Well, I'm changing my vote. I'm going to do the whole state of California, what I originally thought.
Okay, very good. Commissioner Klein?
I'm going to stick with South Bay because I think there's a lot of amazing talent here that hasn't been discovered, and I'd like to have some local heroes.
Commissioner Richardson?
I think it should be international. We live close to a border here of another country, and why not invite everybody? I'd like to have it wide open.
Okay, and my vote is for the state. So now we have 2 state, 2 South Bay, and 1 international. So I am going to I think that the 2 highest votes should be the ones that we vote on. So once again, now our 2 options are South Bay and state. Commissioner Sharma.
Could there be, excuse me, could there be a third option? Could there be a third option where we have it open, but we give priority to local artists?
I don't know if we can do that or not. I think that if we do that and we put that in an RFP, then that does not give any incentive for people outside of local artists to apply if they know that they're going to be considered lesser than a local artist. I think that we run the risk of again restricting the amount of artwork that we get.
Well, isn't that what you're talking about doing anyway, is restricting it? So if it's wide open, we are the judge. We are the ones who are going to recommend any artist. I don't know. That's just my idea.
So does the community services director and or acting director have any thoughts on this?
Chair, the only thing I was going to mention is, and the commission hasn't discussed this yet, but is there a requirement for the selected artist to be responsible for maintenance or touch-ups in the touch-ups after installation. I'm not sure what your thoughts are on that. That may, depending on that decision, may more so limit those who might be able to take part.
I believe that falls within the 5% maintenance allowance of the budget. And I believe that in the past, for some of the public artworks, for example, the Love My Bike, the bike, that piece was sent down to the artist who I believe was in Solana Beach to redo the first time that there was some things that needed attention with that. And I don't know if he came up and got it and took it back down there, but that is something to think about as well. But I mean, again, when you have a professional mural artist who's used to doing murals in a public art forum, they're familiar with all these processes.
Well, when we have public art in Redondo Beach, we are saying that we're going to keep this art around forever. Or is there a time limit that we will agree to maintaining any public art, especially a painted wall? I mean, that doesn't last forever, does it?
No.
And there are art restorers, art conservators. And I suppose any mural would be covered with some graffiti, clear coat of some sort. So there's certain maintenance. I don't know. I don't think it's always feasible for an artist to come back, and artists don't live forever either.
No. And
Chair,
go ahead.
Oh, I'm also just looking at the municipal code, public art requirements. It does say that the public art shall be maintained by the owner or his or her successor in interest in a manner acceptable to the city.
Okay, so then that answers that question. So, and if it has to be sent back to the artist or the artist has to be brought here, then that is part of the expense that's covered under the 5% for maintenance that's included in the budget.
Wait, I don't think I understood that. It belongs to the owner?
Maintained
Maintained by the owner, and the city is the owner, isn't that right?
Correct.
Okay.
So we would.
So
just,
you pay if you need the artist to do something, you pay the artist to do something. That's what they did with the Love My Bike. They paid him whatever the cost was, and we sent it back. We sent it down to his studio, or he came up and got it. I don't remember exactly what happened, but anyway, I think we need. I think we need to move on now. I think that we're getting way too much into a tangent. So Commissioner Sharma would like to have the RFP distributed to the South Bay. Commissioner Klein.
I would definitely like it to be only the South Bay.
And Commissioner Cagle has said the state, right? Commissioner Richardson, of those two options, those are the two options that had the most votes. So of those two options, do you have a preference for either one of those?
I prefer it to be wide open. That's my vote. That's my choice.
Of the two options that I have offered you, do you have a preference between the two options? I mean, did you wish to abstain?
I guess the larger group would be better, yes.
So that would be the state versus the South Bay.
Yes.
Okay. So we have Commissioner Cagle, Commissioner Richardson, and myself for the state. And we have Commissioner Sharma and we have Commissioner Klein for the South Bay. So I believe that the state wins. So moving on then, the next thing to look to, we need to decide when we want to distribute the RFP, how long we're going to give for a period of response. So the distribution date of the RFP, the application deadline, and then after that we can just, decide on any other timelines that we need to. So how long does anybody, is this something that the city would normally do, or do they want us to provide all this information?
What I was going to say is, I think for the discussion on length of time, I think mainly what we're looking for is how long you want to, once the RFP is ready to go, it's distributed, how long are you going to give the artist? Because at this time, and Director Hine, please provide your input if you'd like. But, right now, with the transition, multiple transitions taking place, I don't think we can, at this time, state when we anticipate the RFP to be completed. And in fact, during your discussion about the reach of the RFP, I was going to mention that you're going to have the opportunity to see a draft,
right?
Because you'll want to see it in totality, right? And
all right, so
I just don't know when that might.
Once the RFP is issued, do we want to say that the artists have 60 days to respond, 90 days to respond, 30 days to respond? Does anybody, 60 days seems a reasonable amount of time to me, but I'm not, what was the, on the Performing Arts Center, what was the criteria there?
It's interesting. It gave a deadline of September 2016, but I don't know when it went out. That information is with the list, by the way, I'm sure. So, yeah. I'm looking at it. It just has the deadline. So we would need to find out when it went out.
Commissioner Lappin, I agreed with your 60 days. I thought that seemed appropriate. That was Klein.
Thank you.
I just have been involved with a lot of art shows, and I think that generally is just asking for artists to just come up with an art piece for a show. And this is a site-specific public art project. And I think there should be a little more weight considered to the artist in submitting something like this. So I think 6 months would be reasonable too.
6 months?
6 months, yes. Or, we can make it 1 month and then extend it another month and then extend it another month.
I don't want to do a lot of extensions. I want a finite document that gives clear and concise criteria that people know exactly what's going to happen, when it's going to happen, and then they can choose to submit their artwork or not. Ms. Koike, do you have on the any of the Manhattan Beach or anything else? Was there anything in any of those that showed a timeline that was
This is where we could probably learn something from looking through those art sites that I have shared links with you. And you can look through lists all day long and see what kind of deadlines they have on those things.
Chair Lappin, I'm looking at the Manhattan Beach. It's the same situation. It doesn't have, it has the submittal deadline, but it doesn't have the date of issuance.
I am looking at one, and it shows like an announcement and the distribution of the RFP on, like, say, March, and final installation, which is also to be announced, but it is like after 4 months. So they have the announcement in March, then the deadline in May, and then the proposals of the review of the proposals and identifying the semi-finalists in May to June, mid-May to beginning June. And then they communicate the finalists and those who are not selected by June 11th. And then they're interviewing the semi-finalists by June 12th to 22nd. And there's a notification of the winning proposal by June 25th. And then there's a contract phase between June and July 22nd. And then the artwork design and final approval by July 23rd. And then the commencement of installation. So this is like a 4-month from the announcement to actually getting a design approved and then the commencement.
So that's very helpful. And I, in what I was, I mean, I don't have any of the dates here, but that, you know, to outline all that criteria in terms of timing. So the date of the distribution, the application deadline, the date of review from the Public Art Commission, the selection of finalists from the Public Art Commission, when we send that to City Council, when City Council reviews and approves that, all of those are, 15 days after, 30 days after, whatever, to give a specific timeline. I like having that in a very clear linear format, because I think that that is very helpful for the artist to be able to understand what the process is, how long the process takes, and what is expected of them. So we either have to answer these questions tonight, or we have to all go back and do some more research and come back with our suggestions based on tonight's discussion. If the city is not going to work on an RFP for the next 60 days anyway, which is, I think, what I heard Ms. Koike say, that, maybe that's something that we all want to do. It also would give Director Harding some time to come up to speed and see, maybe he can find out some of these things, when the RFP who was sent to the last one that we did, even though it was a much bigger proposal. So does anybody have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, actually, I was thinking that we should also consider that we meet only once in 2 months, right? So our intervals of meeting, and then if we approve something, that takes time to go to the council to get approved and then comes back to us for final things. So we need to consider all that too in our timeline. So it might be like 6+ months, I guess.
That's true. But if the city is not going to be able to work on this for the next 2 months at all in any way, we seem to be getting lost in this process of what it is that we need to determine and how we need to move forward. So
I have a thought, Klein.
Commissioner Klein?
I feel like we're trying to reinvent the wheel, and I think we're going to way too much detail here. I think there was already an RFP that we've created for the big project, at the Performing Arts Center. And I think we should take that RFP. I think we should maybe split it in half or in quarters, because this is a much smaller project, and kind of use that as a baseline, and have the city do that instead of us doing it in the commission, breaking down every single piece, because I don't think we'll ever get through it.
I kind of agree with that. That the city needs to give us greater direction on how to move forward on this, because I just...
Is there somebody in the city who is going to do this? I mean, the Art Commission seems like we would be the ones to develop the RFP.
Well, we're developing the criteria, but the actual administrative portion of it are two different things. The other thing that I think we need to look at, we need to decide, will the city create an online application form that somebody can just go onto the Public Art Commission webpage and fill out and submit their form there? I mean, that would, I think, be very helpful as well. So I don't know.
Since we met last time and there was a lot of discussion about having professional graphic artists or some agency helping us distribute RFPs and call for artists.
No, they weren't not to help us distribute, just to do the artwork. They had nothing to do with the distribution whatsoever.
Well, it seems like there was a lot of discussion about how we connected with the artists.
Well, that is another agenda item for tonight, but that is not applicable to this discussion because we're not going to use those graphic artists to distribute anything.
Chair, I have a suggestion or a possibility.
Thank you.
So, in terms of to continue Commissioner Klein's thought, I did think that the request for proposal for the wave or for the PAC was a good basic RFP. What I think we could do, and I've mentioned to Director Harding that that I can help out for a while. What we can do is take the request for proposal for the Performing Arts Center and develop, some of the details that need to be developed, such as very, very specific, dimensions and descriptions of the wall and things like that, and just come up with and then add some of the items tonight, which did need to be discussed. And then at the next meeting, bring back a draft.
We could review a draft proposal. I think that's an excellent idea because then we'll have it right there. If there's something, then we can talk about timing and we can talk about all the other things that we need to talk about. But I think that that would be very helpful to have that being put into draft form with the items that we've discussed this evening. And then we can review it at our next meeting. It'll give Director Harding time to orient himself into the community. And instead of asking you to give us answers on your second day on the job.
Third day.
Sorry, I beg your pardon. Pardon me. So anyway, I think that that's a very excellent idea.
Right.
And then I think that that'll give us enough to be able to finalize everything at our next meeting. So I'm going to poll the commissioners to see, do you agree with that process? Commissioner Sharma?
Yes.
Commissioner Cagle?
Yes.
Commissioner Klein?
Yes.
Commissioner Richardson?
Sure, yes.
And I say yes. That can I get a motion then to have a draft RFP as an agenda item for our next meeting?
I'll make the motion, Klein.
We have a second.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, so moving on to the next item on our agenda, which is the selection of artwork for 3 locations for phase 5 of the utility box public art program. I'm going to ask Ms. Quickie to give us the report, please. And I believe we have an e-comment on this.
We have an e-comments. Okay. Laura, I can go ahead and read that.
Yeah.
The e-comment is from Min Win District 5. Thank you for installing the artwork. For future considerations, I would ask that the utility boxes and Manhattan Beach Boulevard and Dow be considered in the next phase of the District 5 artwork. Manhattan Beach Boulevard is a gateway into Redondo Beach and the Redondo Beach Performing Arts Center. I believe the more artwork that leads to the Redondo Beach Performing Arts Center would be a great reflection of the center and neighborhood. So as to continue the conversation from our April meeting. So at the April meeting, the commission did decide on art and a location for both District 1 and 3, which is Chair Lappin mentioned, you only need to select artwork for three of the 5 districts. And I can share my screen to show you. Thank you very much to those commissioners who shared their selection. So let me go ahead and do that. Hopefully this works. Let's see. It's always my, let's see. We have to define it. Hold on. Oh, yes. Can you see it?
Yes.
Okay. So, so let's go ahead and take a look by district. So just as a reminder, this is the Friends of the Redondo Beach Arts selection for Prospect Palos Verdes. So that's done. The next one here is Prospect and Diamond. And I do have access to these pieces of artwork for when you get to the point you want to see it in a larger version. So here's District 2, Chair, if you want to start the conversation.
So there is one utility box at this location. I think it would be helpful to run through the primary choices and secondary choices, and then we can go through and do a quick poll to see if we can narrow it down. Can everybody see that, or would it be helpful to have it be larger?
Larger would be better.
Larger would be.
I can't make, well, I mean, I'd have to click on each one. Or
Can you do that? Is that possible? I'm sorry.
how should I do it? I'm just going to have to try to find them. It'd be hard for me to reformat them. So.
All right. So
this is what we'll do. If this makes you dizzy, though, you'll have to close your eyes. Let's see. My screen is frozen. Oh, there it is. Well, it's taking a while.
That's better.
Okay, let's see if I could go in order. So this is Lola. If you see it, please say something if I'm going too fast. Let's see. They're not all in order.
So Lori, this is Klein. My understanding is that you're going to go to each art piece that we've selected as our first choice or second choice.
That's what I'm doing right now.
Okay, that's what I was just
So
questioning.
the first
Thank
one
you.
was Lola. And then this one is was also one of the primary choices. Okay, and I'm coming up on a Dixon. This is also primary. Oh, what's going on? Toriano. Here's Toriano 6. I'm looking for Carrie Stitt. Three. And this is another selection. Okay, those are the 5 of the primary.
Okay, so can we go to just briefly review the secondary as well?
Susan, this is Klein. Quick question for you. Did we have any overlap? Did we have any that sort of were a majority, or do we have to go with everyone different ideas here?
So in looking at the selections, there is let me just see here really quickly. There is
The Samuel Dixon 5.
Samuel Dixon is the only one that has had 2 selections. One is a primary, one is a secondary. Everything else is separate. Some of these, let me just look here really quickly. Some of these artworks are duplicated in other areas for other boxes as suggestions. So, for example, Ashish Sharma 3 is a selection at Inglewood and Manhattan Beach Boulevard, and also
Artesia and McKay.
So as we've looked at these thumbnail sketches that that Ms. Koike has provided, we should keep in mind that if we select it from one thing, it's going to come off the table for something else. So I don't think, trying to see. So Jenny Bates 3 is in 2 locations. Juan Melendez 1 is in 2 locations. So it's a matter of and that we may not choose it for any of those locations. But did everyone have a chance to review this before we met tonight?
I didn't participate.
Yes.
Yes, I did. Thank you.
Okay, so starting with Prospect and Diamond, of the first 5, and I mean, everybody has chosen something on that they like. So is anyone seeing other people's choices? Are they inclined to switch their vote to something other than the one they chose?
No.
No.
Mhm.
Okay. Well, we need to make a choice. So for Prospect and Diamond,
Can I say why I chose what I chose?
yes.
Okay, so I chose Lola's for this utility box for this position, for this area, this location. It is right by Beach Cities and on Diamond and Prospect. So you have the Redondo High School and you have kids walking, not that much of walking traffic, but still I think when I go and pick up my son, I see enough kids walking around there in that area. And there is definitely a lot of car traffic. I liked this artist's work because it was very open, in the sense it was light, not very heavy. Plus, it had some wordings which were pretty intriguing, and part of which being close to beach cities, the courage and adventure kind of, I guess, it seemed pretty appropriate to me. And so that was my selection for that area.
Thank you, Commissioner Sharma. Commissioner Klein, can you speak to your choice?
I don't have it written down. Oh yeah, this piece right here. I just thought this piece was beautiful and creative and colorful and bold and vivid. And it felt like a story to me. And that's why I liked it. And I thought it's a standalone piece. I did like Commissioner Sharma's explanation of her piece. And I did look twice at it now that I've heard your story, Sharma. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Klein. Commissioner Cagle?
Yes, there's actually two that I like. I like the Dixon 5 Flowers and the Cary Street 3. I just felt like they would look really good in that area, being by the Beach Cities Health District. I just thought this is my opinion, they just look good there.
Commissioner Richardson?
The Samuel Dixon.
And I actually chose the Samuel Dixon one because even though it's approaching the Beach City Health District, that box is in front of a residential area. And I thought that the artwork was very complimentary to the landscaping for the surrounding area. That's why I chose that.
I tend to agree with that, Susan. I think what makes a good design on some of these boxes is an image that makes the box look like an object rather than trying to treat it like a canvas as a landscape or something. And I really felt like some of the other ones look like advertising, especially when you have words. That's just my opinion.
And I tend to not want to put verbiage in a residential area. I mean, that's just my personal opinion. So with everything, let's take a poll very quickly. Does anybody wish to speak to their secondary choices? All right, let's take a poll on the primary choices. Commissioner Sharma?
Still going with Lola.
And Commissioner Klein?
I'm sticking with my original one as well. I don't remember the name.
Carini? Commissioner Cagle?
Samuel Dixon 5, please.
Commissioner Richardson?
Samuel Dixon 5.
And I choose Samuel Dixon 5 as well. So that's 3 for Samuel Dixon 5 and 1 each for Lola and Carini. So Samuel Dixon 5 is what we will put in District 2 at Prospect and Diamond.
Great.
Okay, very good. Let me just make a note here. Okay, so moving on now to Artesia and McKay.
This is just a reminder of what you chose for District 3.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Go ahead.
Complement the smaller box. And here's Artesian McKay, and you have a large and a small box. I hope I got them in order. Gets a little confusing, but. So do you want to go ahead and see the primary large, or do you want to select others to take a look at, Commissioner?
Well, I think that it's important to look at the two artworks together and to look at them in respect to the boxes. So, so if we can start with the first one,
the primary large.
The primary large is Ashish Sharma 3.
Okay.
And the complementary box to go with that would be Rishi Pandey 1.
Oh, okay. Rishi Pandey. These are.
All right. The second is Dodge Williams 3 for the large box.
Let me try to find that one. Okay. 3.
Yes.
Save.
And Dodge Williams 2 for the small box.
I was right next to it.
Rosa Cruz. Three.
Well, we need to go to Williams. Right?
It was Dodge Williams 3 and 2, right?
Oh, well, we didn't look at Rishi Pandey, so we should do that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Right. Okay. Okay. So this would go with Ashish Sharma 3. Then I'll look for Dodge Williams 2. So they're right next to each other. So here's the large box. And small box.
Okay. The next one is Rosa Cruz 3 and 2.
Okay, getting there. Large box.
And 2.
Small box.
The next one is Jenny Bate 4 and 2.
Large box. Small box.
And the last one is Katie McGuire 2 and 1.
Need some time to catch up. Yes. So, large box.
Those are great. On those, I wonder if the artist intends to have it look like torn pages from a sketchbook, or those will be perfected and.
I think it's only the artwork, not the tone pages of the sketch.
It's what?
I think it's just the artwork, not don't look at the
Oh.
pages as such. I think she just put them together to take a photograph.
Yeah, because I like it the way it looks there, totally from a sketchbook.
Cool.
All right, so I'm going to ask Commissioner Sharma, can you speak to your selection, please?
My selection was Dodge William 3 and Dodge William 2. Again, looking at the utility box at McKay, lot of walking traffic and car traffic on Artesia. Again, so this was pretty clean. But then again, I chose this as my primary. My secondary was much more colorful to complement it. So, but I see
they underestimate Chaco's vision.
Hello?
So somebody has news on? Okay, thank
Yeah.
you.
So that was my selection, but I see that somebody chose my artwork too. So yeah, I'm excited about that. So, it's my artwork and my son's artwork, so it's like a combination of us. So yeah.
So thank you, Commissioner Sharma. Commissioner Cagle?
Yes, I picked Jenny Bate. I love her artwork, but I also really like Ashish and her son Rishishi. Sorry if I don't pronounce the name right. I like those two, but I didn't. Yeah, I didn't pick them down. But if it comes down to voting, I like Bates one, and then those other ones too. Just adding something in for the large. Okay.
Thank you, Commissioner Cagle. Commissioner Klein?
Yes, I chose Ashish and the accompanying piece, and I thought Ashish, I thought your piece was incredibly beautiful, colorful and vivid, and showed ocean life, and I just loved everything about it. And the reason I chose this accompanying piece, I thought the colors were matching, and they just really complemented each other perfectly. And I also, I do like McGuire too. I chose McGuire for a different area. So I do like the McGuires, but in this particular area, I liked Ashish.
Commissioner Richardson?
This is my neighborhood, and I've lived in for 30 years or more, and I think Dodge Williams really captures the feel of the neighborhood. So I like the Dodge Williams.
And I also chose Ashish Sharma and Rishi Pandey I think the artwork is beautiful. I like the colors. I like having an accompanying piece that not only complements the colors, but sometimes when you put two pieces next to each other, you don't want both of them to be equally busy. You want one to be a supportive piece rather than another piece. And these two, I think, work beautifully together with that in mind and with the colors. So that's why I chose those pieces. I think they would look quite beautiful there. So we can, if you like, we can go through the secondary, or we can take a poll on the primaries. Let's take a poll on the primaries. So Commissioner Sharma?
Well, I guess I can't choose mine, so I choose Dodge William.
Commissioner Cagle?
I'm going to choose Sharma and Rishi because nobody is going to pick Bate. So I'm going to go with my second choice, which is absolutely beautiful artwork.
Commissioner Klein?
I want to go with Sharma as well.
Commissioner Richardson?
I think Dodge Williams is my choice.
And I choose Sharma and Pandey. So that's 3 votes for Sharma and Pandey. Hello?
Can I request something?
Yes.
Our artwork was also chosen for Inglewood and Manhattan. Would you mind putting that there?
Yeah, I think
Or-
that'd be better out there. Yeah.
All right, well,
Yeah,
so
you know,
let's
I think-
table this for a second and look at Inglewood and Manhattan Beach.
Thank you, Ashish.
Yeah, so I had chosen for this area Hudson 5 and 2.
And Commissioner, did you want to say why you chose that?
I had chosen again entering from on Inglewood towards Manhattan on Manhattan Beach Boulevard. So it was like towards the beach. So the slippers and those birds and the ocean kind of a thing seemed inviting.
Thank you. Commissioner Cagle?
Yes, I picked Debbie Collette and Patty Lynette. 1 and 3 was my one, but I can also go with what people are saying with Ashish and Rishi. It's 1, it's 2. So I'm open to stuff.
Thank you. Commissioner Klein?
Yeah, if Ashish would like to have, I think we agreed that her work and her son's work were selected. If she would rather have it at that particular location, I'm fine swapping my location at Inglewood, my choice in Inglewood with that to accommodate her. And I think that I actually might have chosen Hudson. I don't have my choices in front of me, what I chose for Inglewood, but I did choose Hudson as well, similar piece. So I think we're kind of on the same page here.
Commissioner Richardson?
I thought the Ashish was the red one, no?
I'm sorry?
I thought the Ashish we were talking about was a red one.
No, it's this one.
Okay. Well, yeah, I think this one and Rishi's look good out on Inglewood. It has more of that feel for that kind of busy activity, whereas Dodge Williams, I think, works well on McKay. So.
And what did you choose, just out of curiosity, for this location?
Ashish and Rishi.
You didn't pre-submit anything, is what I'm
No,
asking.
I did not.
Okay. So I chose the Juan Melendez one. I did not pick a second one. And then I also, as my secondary, picked the Lorenzana one because, and the reason I did that is I thought that this area needed something with a lot of color. But I am happy to put Sharma and Panday in this location if that's what everyone else would like to do as well. So let's take a vote then for Inglewood and Manhattan Beach Boulevard. I'm going to poll the commissioners. So Commissioner Sharma, obviously you're picking your own since you asked us to do that. So Commissioner Cagle.
Ashish and her wonderful son, beautiful artwork.
Commissioner Klein.
Ashish and her son.
Commissioner Richardson.
Ashish and Rishi, yes.
So we have all chosen the same thing. Isn't that fantastic? So
Thank you.
Thank you. Your artwork is quite beautiful, and
Cheers! Congratulations.
It goes so beautifully with what your son did. It's amazing. So going back to Artesia and McKay. So now that we are taking the Sharman and Panday off of that, if you want to glance briefly at the secondary, but we can go ahead and vote on the primary for this location and see if we can come to consensus and whether or not we need to go to the secondary. So, Commissioner Sharma.
For this location, Dodge William, I'm open to Katie McGuire. but my first is Dodge William.
And Commissioner Cagle?
Bait, but I'd like to go to Dieter, which is my second choice.
Deirdre Weinberg, 1 and 2.
Yes.
Celebrating because they killed Chuck.
Let's take a quick look at those.
Sí, me quedé impactado. No lo podía creer. A veces sí que la repito.
Okay. Commissioner Klein?
I forgot the name. The ones with the mermaids and the. I'm sorry, I forgot the name.
Katie McGuire.
Okay, I want to go with the McGuires on that one.
Okay, so, Commissioner Richardson?
Dodge Williams would look good in this neighborhood.
Okay, so we
Thank you.
have, can we see Dodge Williams, please, 2 and, at 1 and 2, please? Or, excuse me, 3 and 2?
We're like aliens running around in the street. I like
It's, so I will vote for that as well. So we have 3 for Dodge Williams, 1 for Bates, and 1 for McGuire, and then a second for Weinberg. So I think that means that Williams is what goes on this location.
Yay.
Is everyone in agreement for that?
Yes.
Sure.
So Dodge Williams, 3 for the large box and 2 for the small box. And, okay. So this is what we have. We have District 1, we have Erica Snow Robinson on the corner of Prospect and Palos Verdes. In District 2, we have Samuel Dixon 5 at Prospect and Diamond. District 3, we have Eric Michaels' companion piece, the plant design at 190th and Prospect. District 4, we have 2 boxes at Artesia and McKay. The large box is Dodge Williams 3. The small box is Dodge Williams 2. And District 5, we have 2 boxes, and we have, for the large box, we have Ashish Sharma 3 and Rishi Pandey 1 for the small box. So may I have a motion to approve the selections as so stated?
I make the motion to approve all the awesome boxes that we just picked.
And Klein will second.
So Commissioner Cagle made the motion, Commissioner Klein seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, so the next item that we have on the agenda is the new call for artists for the Utility Box Public Art Program. Before I turn it over to Ms. Koike to make the administrative report, I'd like to comment on this. I think that we have 2 items to consider here. The first is whether to proceed with an immediate call for artists for the utility boxes. And the second is to instigate the process of finding a graphic design firm for the artwork for our subsequent calls. So, so I'm going to ask Ms. Koike to give the administrative report, please.
So obviously in the last, since you started this program, you've selected quite a few pieces of artwork. And so you obviously started thinking about a call for artists, I think back in January or earlier in the year. And then finally at the April meeting, you approved the flyer to be distributed in the future call for artists. In the report, it's noted that in the past, we have used the community services newsletter, which is done quarterly. And the next one, they're ready to publish the summer newsletter in the next day or so, but the next one will be fall. So we would need to submit information to community services in July. You have different options. You can insert the flyer that was created. In the report, there's also, there are various options. Another one is a text only. It's more like an ad. It's the small square that talks about the program, no longer a pilot program, but about the utility box program. And then also looks like in your packet, it almost looks like an article in the newsletter, again, about the program information, how to apply for a call for artists. And so you have different options that those, of course, are done very easily. It's just a submittal to Director Harding, who will then forward it to his staff. And then as Chair Lappin mentioned, you can also, discuss, the use of the professional services for if you want to do anything above and beyond that. So that is the report.
So I think it is very important that we issue a new call for artists immediately in order to start to replenish our depleting pool of artwork. I think that we need to start getting more artwork in as soon as possible. So the question, if we decide to do that, is to use the approved flyer that was submitted by the committee, or to use the text version, which we have used for all of our previous call for artists. So the first thing I would like to do is to ask everyone, do you think that we should go ahead and do an immediate call for artists now, or do you want to wait until we hire a graphic artist and through all the months of doing that? Commissioner Sharma?
I think I'm okay with what we have right now, and we can put in a call for artists for our depleting inventory.
I'm sorry, I did not understand. So you do not want to do an immediate call for artists?
Oh, no, yes, I want to do an immediate.
You do, okay, I'm sorry. Commissioner Cagle?
Yes, I want to do an immediate call for artists.
Commissioner Klein?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Commissioner Cagle, I cut you off.
No,
I'm
I was going to say that a couple of the things that I sent out to the Northern California, we picked 6 of the artists that I sent out the request to, just to let you know.
I don't know.
Thank you. Commissioner Klein?
I think we should definitely do something immediately, and I think that the artwork that the commission submitted would be far superior to just a generic text. And I also wanted to, and maybe this is not the right time to talk about it, but the options that Lori gave us for where these advertisements go, I think that the subcommittee created a list of all these other places that these advertisements should go. And I'm not quite sure why that wasn't included. So I just wanted to maybe come back to that when it's the appropriate time.
Okay, very good. Commissioner Richardson?
I suggested 3 websites that reach out and directly.
I'm sorry, that's not the question. The question is, do you want to do an immediate call for artists, or do you want to wait until we hire a graphic artist to do new artwork?
I think we can do it immediately by reaching out to those 3 websites and putting a little ad. And I started a Facebook page called Redondo Beach Public Arts. And I just wonder if I could generate something there. Is there a problem with doing that?
So I think we're all in agreement that we want to do an immediate call for artists. That's the first thing. So that's good. So then the second thing is, I mentioned previously that when Ms. Maddox did the last call for artists for the utility box program, she was very successful in getting a lot of submissions. And I'm hopeful that the city will be able to somehow find where she made that distribution so that we can duplicate it. I'm also hopeful that that our new community service director, Mr. Harding, will have some suggestions for us on where to do a distribution. And I am also hopeful that we can use the sites that Commissioner Richardson has suggested, and any other places that we all know of that we can make this distribution. So, for example, yes, it should go on all of our social media pages. Yet, can we put it in the Beach Reporter? Can we put it in the Easy Reader? We can put it in the community services newsletter. Thank you. That's what I was trying to say. We can put it there. We can send it out to the art groups that we all know, the Redondo Beach Art Group, the Friends of Redondo Beach Arts, the Palace of Verdes. I mean, we can there are places that we can put all of these things. So I'm hopeful that if we do something immediately and we are all agree on the format, that we can just start this as soon as possible. And then we can talk about the graphic arts portion of that after we resolve this. So as just quickly, Commissioner Sharma, do you want the flyer or do you want the text only version?
I'm okay with text only right now. Immediate ones, perfectly fine.
Okay. So the flyer that I'm referring to is the one that's already done. That was done. It's this one.
Yeah, whatever we have. Yeah, whatever we have. Yes.
I'm sorry. Do you want this?
I am okay with giving the text as well as the flyer.
Well, we're going to do one or the other, the flyer or the text. Do you want to do?
The flyer will have more impact, I guess.
Okay, so you say the flyer. Commissioner Cagle.
The flyer will have more impact. I agree with that.
Commissioner Klein.
Flyer.
Commissioner Richardson.
I don't understand the use of the flyer.
It would be, that's what the call for artists would be. That's what would be printed.
We'd print up these flyers and hand them out?
No, they would be duplicated digitally, and that's what you would distribute to the places that you're distributing to.
Okay, well, I really have a problem with the way that's worded, that flyer. So I don't want to use that flyer. I think it just creates the wrong image for what we're looking for, actually.
Okay, so you say text only.
Different text, yes. Yes. In fact, I designed one, but I don't have it with me at the moment.
We'll send it in.
Okay.
So for right now, we have 2 options.
No flyer.
Pardon me?
No
text only. You
flyer.
say text. You say.
Well, I think the
So-
text should not include the word decorate.
Okay.
I forget how it's worded, but it just
It
didn't look like it
says
was.
Redondo Beach needs your art to cover our utility boxes. Get paid and have your art decorating our community.
Yeah,
And
I don't
it
know why
gives-
that irritates me so much, but it just doesn't seem to really target the kind of art we're looking for.
And the plain text version would be what has been sent out previously with the deletion of its of the pilot program. So it would say Utility Box Public Art Program. The City of Redondo Beach and its Public Art Commission invites artists to participate in the city's public art Utility Box Public Art Program. The city and the commission are seeking artists to showcase their work in a pilot program or in a program to beautify our utility boxes located throughout the city of Redondo. The goals of the program are to use public art to contribute to the vitality and attractiveness of the city's streetscapes and bring art to unexpected places.
That sounds really.
That sounds what?
I can't think of the right word, but it doesn't seem to really target the kind of art and artists that we're looking for.
Well,
You're not
those are,
beautifying the city. You know, art is something else. So, you know, I'm sorry, I'm not prepared to give you the wording on that right now.
well, we have already approved the flyer in a previous meeting. So the question before us now is whether we want to move forward with an immediate call for artists and whether we want to use the flyer that we approved in our April meeting, or do we want to use a text-only version until such time as we can hire a graphic artist to make a professional rendering call for artist artwork.
And there's a third version, which could be reaching out to those 3 websites, and it doesn't have to have a picture of a sunset, and it won't say decorate. And that could be done tomorrow. And I don't see why we need to wait. You know, I don't know what the cost is on that, but
Are you asking me to poll the commissioners for that? I can do that.
yeah,
if
let's
you'd
do
like.
that. Sure.
So the question that Commissioner Richardson is asking us to consider is that we take the flyer and eliminate the sunset and eliminate the sunset and
There's no pictures.
this part, and just leave this today and say call for artists for the Redondo Beach Public Art Utility Box Program. Is that what you're saying?
Well, I'm sorry. I had it written out, but I don't have it in front of me, but it's probably a little more complicated than that. There might even have a price and a link to
Well, we can't. So this is the thing. If we reconsider this now, then we have to wait 2 months to our next meeting to put it on the agenda and then vote for it. So what was before us now are things that have already been approved and discussed.
We discussed having a budget to give to a graphic artist, and I'm suggesting that we use that money to put this advertisement on those websites. You know, I'm sorry, I don't have all the information right now.
So the second part of this agenda item is to discuss the direction. Discuss moving forward with utilizing the $2,000 to engage a graphic designer to create a new call for artists flyer, which would be used, I'm using the word flyer, but that artwork would be used in every call for artists. It would be used on our social media. It would be used in regular media, news, in print, And it would be sent out to the various websites where you would submit a call for artists. In my opinion, we need direction from Community Services Director on the procedure that we need to follow in order to utilize that $2,000. I think we need referrals from the marketing committee members and from any other commissioner that wishes to participate, to comprise a list of graphic design firms to contact to solicit their interest in contracting for this work. So I think that we should establish a date and time that the city needs to have that information in order to move forward. I think we need to select a date that we would like to target to complete the process of selecting a firm, and then how long that we'll have to select a firm and have them create the artwork, and then give us their submission, and that I'm sure will have to be approved by somebody in the city. And I don't know if there's any other information that staff or Director Harding would need in order for us to proceed to move forward with this program. But in order to do all of that, I mean, we certainly have to wait to get direction from Director Harding at our next meeting, which is 2 months from now. So
if we simply put,
if we do that, so we'll get direction at that meeting, and then we'll have to wait another 2 months for all the information to come back to us and move forward with that. So we're talking about at least a 4-month period before we could do a call from artists if we do not choose one of the two options that we have already approved, which is the flyer or an updated revision of the text version. That is my understanding of what our choices are. Ms. Koike, is there something that I'm not, that I'm missing?
No, I just checked some dates. You are correct, or I just want to remind the commission that the deadline for the fall newsletter is around the 19th of July. So, if you again decide or make a decision at your July 28th meeting, obviously
it won't go until the winter.
You missed that opportunity. Hopefully you can at least come to a conclusion for one of the items, because it's a nice reach of, I think, 8,000 to 10,000 people, and it's no cost, and so
all right. So
make a decision on that.
I'm going to call for a formal vote now. I'm going to call for a formal vote on how to move forward. Our choice is to wait, move forward with the flyer.
Excuse me, Susan.
Yes.
You were in the middle of already calling a vote already, and 3 of the commissioners have already said that we wanted to move forward with the current flyer. There is one commissioner,
Richardson. On Commissioner Richardson's objections, I just would like to do it very quickly in case anybody has considered what he has to say and has changed their mind. So very quickly, Commissioner Sharma, move forward now, and if so, flyer or text?
Move forward now and flyer.
Commissioner Cagle.
Move forward with flyer, but I would like the flyer and text to send to me my email so I can send it out to different people, please.
Commissioner Klein?
Send it out immediately with the flyer.
And I also say send it out immediately with the flyer. Commissioner Richardson?
I think I'd like to have a plain text with a revision on the text.
So the flyer has the most votes. So that is is how we will proceed. So can I have a motion to send out an immediate call for artists using the flyer that we have approved at our last meeting, and that will go to, so let's have a motion just for that.
Klein has a motion.
Second, is there,
Seconded.
Commissioner Klein made the motion, Commissioner Cagle seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed.
One opposed, motion carries. So I would like to request to staff or to Ms. Koike or Director Harding. I'm not quite sure who I'm making the request to, but can you please send the flyer to all of the commissioners so that they can forward that information to anybody that they know? And the flyer should go in the fall edition of the city newsletter. And I'd also like to request that I know you've looked, but I'd like hopefully to try and look at least one more time to see if we can find out where Ms. Maddox sent the other call for artists that we did back in January that was so successful. And I believe she also put that in the Beach Reporter. And I'm not sure if I can't remember off the top of my head if she did it in the Easy Reader. Also, Commissioner Richardson has given you 3 sites that he feels that are appropriate for this call for artists. So the city could also send it to those, unless you would like to do that yourself, Commissioner Richardson.
Yeah, I need to research that to see how that works exactly and what the costs are.
Okay. So
I'm also Klein here. Can I?
Yes.
We put a committee together for the specific reason. We have a list. We officially submitted it. And if we are going to be putting this flyer out, it makes sense to actually send it to the list that we put together, which already exists formally.
Okay. So we have all the resources that we have. We should do the call for artists on. It should go on all of our social media. So that was my request to you. Do I have to phrase that in some formal manner, or Ms. Koike?
I was just going to ask, is the list that the committee put together, is that the list that Joyce utilized?
No, it is not.
Okay. What are you asking, Chair?
Do I have to make a motion or a formal request other than what I just requested to staff, or to I don't know how to do that
No, I guess the first step would be to take a look at that list. So can that be sent to me?
Commissioner Klein?
It was already submitted to the Art Commission. I'm sure I can find a copy, but yeah, I don't have it in my. I mean, I'm talking to you on my phone, not my computer, so I can't send it right now. But I can probably.
Yeah. Commissioner Klein, if you could do that, I have looked multiple times. I've mentioned this to Chair Lappin for, call for artists, RFP lists. I just have not been able to find it in community services. It's not to say it doesn't exist, but it's not easily found.
Yes, I mean, I just don't have it. I don't have it in my possession this second because.
No, that's fine. I don't need it now.
But if I had known that, I would have gotten it to you a long time ago. We have a list, and we put a lot of time into, as a subcommittee, to putting it together for you. So we have it and it's ready to go. I will get it to you next week.
Okay, so I think that we have exhausted everything that we need to do on this particular agenda item. Moving forward to the second portion of it, I think that we need to have direction at our next meeting in July from Community Services Director Harding on the procedure that we need to do to move forward to utilize the $2,000. I also would like to request that we have right tonight a deadline, if there is one necessary, to have information sent from the commissioners to Director Harding of their recommendation for any graphic artists that they would like to include in that process. And we will need to know if there's anything else that commissioners need to do, or how we can proceed so that we can move forward at our next meeting in starting to engage a graphic artist to create a new call for artist graphic design.
Question, Susan?
Yes, Commissioner Klein.
Sorry, this is Lappin. Commissioner Lappin. It seems like a lot of cities just put out an RFP. I mean, I know it's we already have the dollar amount, but a request similar to what we're doing. We don't need to go that formal.
I don't know if we need an RFP for $2,000 contract. I think that might be, I don't know. We may have to, this is one of the questions. I'm assuming, and that's probably a very bad thing to do, but I'm assuming that we at least need probably 3 bids. And then that we don't need to do a call for graphic. I mean, for $2,000. Ms. Koike, is there a procedure? I don't know how the city works.
No, as you mentioned, we'll have to get back to you on that.
Yeah. So,
you know what? I do some I do bidding for cities and stuff like that. And they have these websites called like Procurement Now or Planet Bids. And you post it on one of those websites. And I think Redondo Beach is part of that. And you just post it up there and then people can bid on it.
Okay, that's good.
Is one way. I don't know any other ways. I don't know how our city works for sure, but I know that that's how it works.
Okay. Well, that's why I say we need direction from the city on how it works and how to proceed. I don't know. So
another suggestion that I would like to throw out there is that we have a chamber of commerce, and there's many local graphic designers within our chambers that maybe we could just. I mean, of course, I personally have lots of contacts, but maybe we open to our chambers, have our chambers put a note out or something like that. Whatever's fair.
Yeah, that's a good idea. But again, the city will have to advise us. So taking all of these points under consideration, when we come back in July, the city should be able to, on the agenda item, tell us exactly what we need to do, exactly what they are suggesting that we do, and then we can just yes or no and move forward. And is there a suggested date, Ms. Koike, that you would like to receive information from commissioners on their suggestions for graphic artists to include?
No, I don't. I mean, like I think I mentioned that I will be assisting Director Harding on different art projects for not for a long time, but I would maybe just say by the end of June.
Okay, so June 30th, July 1st, which
June. At a certain point in time, I have to focus on a different department's work. So June 30 would be fine.
Okay, so by June 30th, if commissioners could email, should we email Director Harding or with a carbon copy to you? How do you want us to proceed?
That would be fine. The Director Harding should always see what's coming in from the commissioners.
Okay. There any suggestions or referrals that they have for graphic artists that they would like to include in our search for interested people? So I don't know. I think that do any other commissioners have any comments or questions on this issue? Especially Commissioner Klein, since you are the head of the subcommittee. No?
No, I think you covered it.
Okay, very
covered
good.
it.
Okay, so I don't need a motion to, we didn't do anything other than request information. So I don't think I need a motion to move forward with that. So moving on then to item K, members' items and referrals to staff. Does anyone have any announcements or presentations or referrals to staff that they would like to include at this time? Okay, very good. Well, then I think that we are ready to.
Chair?
Yes, I'm sorry, who was that?
I have just one item for the director's report.
Oh, okay, thank you.
J5. Or just two things. I say this every meeting, but Legato, we hope to have or hope to see that on the July agenda. Again, it would be a presentation of proposed art for their residential portion of the project. And also, one other quick thing, Rappin sent me photos of the utility box at Catalina and Avenue I. It's damaged in multiple locations, so Spin out of Long Beach is recommending that the entire box be rewrapped. If you want to do that, it is approximately $1,250. It's the pricing has gone up, but I believe it's because the vinyl material is petroleum based, so it's just more expensive to do. So I don't know if that's something that you want to move forward with or wait or.
Lori, sorry to interrupt. This is Diane Cagle. I was wondering what artist and what's the design on that to refresh my memory.
It's
Sorry.
the koi fish.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, blues and oranges.
So what happened to it? It rusted out or?
No, it looks like people probably started peeling it and it ripped. It's like around the top edge and all of the panels. So,
and there was graffiti and it looked like people had maybe put posters or flyers on it and then ripped it off.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
This is Klein, Commissioner Klein. Is there any, do we have any kind of budget for maintenance in this particular project?
Well,
for the
you always set aside monies for maintenance, so you would just take it out of your public art fund.
So is that something that we can just, do we have to vote on that today, or is it something we work on next time, or how does that work?
Since this was not an agenda item, do we have to put it on our next agenda, or can we vote on it now as part of the director's report?
Yeah, it's since the report is verbal.
Yeah, I think we have to put it on our next agenda. Yeah. Is that correct?
So we could do that.
Okay, so let's put that on there to discuss whether we want to go ahead and have the box rewrapped.
And that is it.
I have a quick question, Lori. Are they since it's $1,000 to rewrap that one, are all the other boxes moving forward going to be $1,000 instead of, because I remember they were only 500 before.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure each one is a little different because I asked how the pricing is determined, and some of it has to do with, well, obviously the size of the box, but also the, I guess, the prep of the box for the vinyl. So, you know, are there things need to be cleaned? So I think there are different variables to each one. That, of course, that's my only discussion I've had about the utility boxes. I don't have never worked on the previous phases, so.
I have a question about how we choose these artworks, and do we submit just exactly what we see? Do we give that to Spin and they generate the art and the vinyl and also apply it? Is that how that works?
Right. I've asked Chair Lappin that multiple times about how does it work? Because each box is different shapes and all of that. So
actually, Commissioner Klein probably is the best person to answer that question since her artwork is on a utility box. But basically, the artist has specific criteria that they have to digitally submit to Spin, and then they generate that and they put it on the utility box. It's treated for ultraviolet and salt, and there's a graffiti coating on it so that graffiti can be wiped off.
But that Spin that generates the art, they must go out and measure the box and decide what they need to print.
They absolutely do.
And then apply it too.
Yeah, Commissioner Klein?
Yeah, sorry, my headphones fell out. My battery's about to die. I was going to change the battery, but yeah, they actually send you. They go out and measure. Actually, I had to go out and measure my own myself because they didn't have it completely measured out. So it's kind of a Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you guys hear me? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, it's kind of a collaboration between Spin and the artist. You send them the original artwork, and then they give you mock-ups, and then you have to work with them to make sure that it fits on the box, because there's all kinds of like little idiosyncrasies about each box.
But I don't think usually the artist will have any input on this. Is that right?
I had input.
I believe they do. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they do. They ask you, they want to make sure, in fact, they put a lot of the responsibility on you. They don't want to take responsibility for getting it wrong. So they want to make sure. They send you numerous sides and measurements, and you have to go over it with them a lot. And like I said, they even sent me down to measure it myself, certain areas, to make sure we got it right. So there's a lot of involvement with the artist.
Thank you, Commissioner Klein. Are there any other questions on this subject? So moving on then to adjournment, I'd like to announce that the next meeting of the Redondo Beach Public Art Commission will be a regular meeting to be held Wednesday, July 28th at 7 p.m. via Zoom. And I'd like to request a motion to adjourn.
I'll put a motion to adjourn.
Commissioner Klein has made a motion to adjourn. May I have a second, please?
I'll second it.
Commissioner Cagle is seconded. So the meeting is adjourned at 9:20 p.m.